Hello, Cowboy Nation. Um, I had to get on here live. I'm hoping my computer and the live screen doesn't go down, man. Um, you could tell by my attitude, by my my demeanor, that I'm not too excited. I've been a Cowboy fan for a long time. Has watched the Cowboys go through a whole lot, um, and I know football. And football is a very particular thing, particular sport. You know, when people talk about the football gods, you got to treat football right for the football gods to be able to do certain things and things to fall your way, or to have a chance for things to fall your way. And when you try to cheat the game, when you try to go around the game in a certain way, uh, you usually have problems. I'm here to talk about this a few minutes, man, about the press conference today of training camp. And as you see in my caption, I said Jerry showed the star today. The star that I say about the Dallas Cowboys front office when they get into this um, arrogant, narcissistic type of feeling and awareness. They showed the star today. They showed the star that they have, that Jerry off in this front office showed today, was the stubborn, tumultuous, arrogant reactions. And I know a lot of people, a lot of my Cowboy fans out there, I'm probably going to say some things today that's probably going, I'm just trying to get started with this channel. And I may kill myself with this channel before I even get started. I'm going to try to be very cordial in how I say things. But there's certain things that need to be said. I said long before that uh, when you go back to when Jerry bought this team, he was humbled. And the reason I say he was humbled because this was his first time being in the sports arena and buying the team, and he brought in Jimmy, and Jerry knew how to win. Jerry knew about football, but he was humble, and he spent a lot of time and early trying to figure out how to make the money back because he had put everything he had in there. But somewhere down the line, this winning of games and getting those Super Bowls, the ego took over to say, "Hey, I want more of the spotlight." And one thing about ego, once it takes a hold of you and you don't have no humbling experience, or you're in a situation where you can't lose anything. I know B Bird always talks about this, about, B Bird always talks about, the Joneses have been not being in a situation where they don't have to answer to people so they can do things the way they want to do it, because they don't have anybody out there would say they're fine because they are the bosses. And that kind of cuts down on their eagerness, or their willingness not to make certain decisions. That cuts down on that because they ain't got no bosses. But today showed ownership that was stubborn. It showed an ownership that was tumultuous by being loud and boastful in this press conference, and making this stage that they had with a press conference, and to say the things that they said. And it showed a lot of arrogance today. A lot of arrogance, like an organization that Yeah, we did win 3 championships under you, Jerry. But it talks like an arrogance, like you need us to be in the NFL. No, Jerry. These players don't need you to be in the NFL. Michael Parsons could play for anybody and get paid. And it's the same type of reactions we get. It's an arrogance about we should be privileged. Players should be privileged to play for the Cowboys. And that same type of arrogance flows over to our fan base. They treat us sometimes like we should be privileged. We should feel privileged to be a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. Not that they're trying to do stuff to gain our fandom. It's almost that we should be thankful that we're Cowboy fans. And today it sounds like with certain things that were said, it sounds like he got the feeling that our players should be thankful that they play for the Cowboys. Jerry, I think you should feel thankful you played for the Kansas City Chiefs. When you won 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 or 6 years. And you played in the Super Bowl 5 or 6 times. I think you should be thankful you played for the Philadelphia Eagles. They done played in 2 Super Bowls and don't won one. I think you should be thankful if you played for a team that's been in NFC Championship or AFC Championship games. Perennial. Those are the players who should be thankful that they get to play and fill out their dreams of winning. Because guess what? Those guys' paychecks is no less than the Dallas Cowboys' paychecks. And in some cases, they're getting paid more. Oh, you should be thankful because of what type of publicity you get, that you're on the stage of the Dallas Cowboys. So if that's what we should be thankful for, because I've heard them say that there's other perks for playing for the Cowboys. But that ain't got nothing to do with football. This interview today, and this is why I'm going to go down the slippery road, sounds just like this country is being run now. We ain't going to play no players. Kind of allude to them saying, well, I don't know why we pay players early. Oh, we paid players and they said, they been hurt. Man, Jerry no football. That's why this game is played. So what he really feels that Jerry wants to turn this league into, okay, we'll pay you by your performance. And a lot of y'all feel that way. But there was no mention today about how, Jerry, you sabotaged the last season. Because you knew that no NFL coach on a lame duck contract has ever won big in the NFL. And you had a whole staff of lame duck coaches. Who made that decision? But you see, again, somehow you pinned it on, or we had injuries. In the last 5 years, if you go back and look at the injury history, the Cowboys, if you go back to 6, 7 years from now, go for the last 6 years, 4 or 5 of those years, 3 or 4 of those years, the Cowboys was one of the teams that were the healthiest teams in the league. What did that bring you? You went to the Green Bay game, is one of the healthiest teams you had in going to the playoffs in I don't know how many years. What did that bring you? See, this is the same stuff about what we're going to do is we're going to bring up other stuff to get everybody off us. We're gonna throw it out there on everybody else. We're gonna talk about guys being hurt. We're gonna talk about guys not, signing people contracts or guys was out 6 games. You're gonna talk about the day about you signed a highest paid player in the league and he was out for half of the season. See, you're gonna put it on everybody else. But you're not going to show the accountability that you had a lamed up staff, and in the history of the NFL, there's never won. But that was okay. I got some people out there talking about, well, Michael is under contract. Well, let me tell you something, man. There's 32 teams out there in the NFL. There's a lot of first round draft picks don't even get their that don't get extensions, and a lot of them don't even get. Some of them, a lot of them don't even get their 5th-year contract pulled guaranteed. But anybody out there that has had the career so far, like a Michael Parsons, or had that type of impact like a Michael Parsons, had no problem with getting their extension. And they're not going to play it all the way out to the he tried to make it sound like, he almost give you the impression that, oh man, the guys, they're getting paid too much. But the owner's making more money. Ticket prices still going up. You still signing bigger deals, television deals. Revenue is going up. It sounds just like this country, man. I want to make it all, and I don't want to pay y'all nothing. And I want to drag it out and drag it out because I don't want to feel like I'm writing you no big check. But then I get on the other side and say, "Dang, I was not scared to write no big check." How long Zach Martin stayed out? A couple of weeks. Did they talk about how long Zach Martin was out? When he got hurt or he was gimpy? Not a word. Did they say anything about Sean Lee when he was out? Not a word. he never made a Pro Bowl or All Pro. Not a word. You gave them contracts early. Have you ever mentioned Travis Fredericks that retired? Yeah, okay, yeah, he had got his position, he retired. You gave him a extension early. He didn't have to beg. You gave him high-paid center money, and then he retired, and you still paid him. Well, you could have got your money back. You could have petitioned to get some of your signing bonus back. But did you? But you got to mention Dak Prescott injury and Michael Parsons injury today. I'm gonna say, man, the only thing, and I love the Cowboys. I love the Cowboys. But the only thing that's gonna get this, that may could have a shocker to this type of situation, and y'all ain't gonna like this, Cowboy Nation, but it's gonna take one of these superstars, like a Michael Parsons, or a Tyler Smith, or a Dak Prescott, or another superstar that's coming along, whoever else coming along, a Bland, if he have a great year. It's going to take one of those players to say, the hell with the Cowboys. I'll play my contract out. You want a franchise tag me? I'm going to dog it. I'm going to just get by. And when I get free agency, then I'm going someplace else. Or they're going to come out and say straight up, I want out of Dallas. I want to be traded. I don't want to be here. And then that's going to turn the spotlight to say that everybody ain't privileged to play for the Cowboys. Everybody don't feel like they feel special because they play for the Cowboys. Oh, I got to stay in Dallas. Because to me, the Cowboys ain't got no leverage. If we're a perennial NFC championship game playing, Super Bowl champions, Super Bowl playing Super Bowl every year, then you got leverage. You ain't got no leverage. But you know something? Our fan base go blame it on Dak Prescott. We got the same small-mindedness as the ownership, thinking that, hey, our players are just some piece of, well, hey, I don't need, they get what I get. Basically, what he was saying today is, they'll get it when I get ready, if I want to give it to them. I don't really think they really deserve that. Telling them, going through the analogy about how much a car costs and how much it costs now, and it might blow up and all that. Basically, what that's saying is, the guys ain't worth their money they get. But guess what, Jerry? Your NFL team has went up about 35 times of what you bought it for. Then you ain't worth that football team being as much $10 billion. Or probably $12 billion. And that's just how that's just how this society and this stuff is being. The same philosophy is starting to filter down into everything. And this is the same philosophy. We're going to make all the money. We're going to give you nothing. And we're going to restrict what you can make. sad, man. And this, if I was Schottenheimer, there's no way that I could sit on that stage and listen to this stubborn, tumultuous, arrogant reactions and say, is this about football? We spent an hour, more of the chains, talking about contracts, about getting people in and talking about how guys was hurt, basically saying how guys, didn't perform because they wasn't there. Basically just saying, throwing guys under the bus because, listen, the reason why you get guys hurt, because the softer your training camp, the more injuries you're going to have. And just because guys are not hurt, that don't mean you win. Performance win games, man. I don't know if y'all fans understand how sad the day is. You're right, Mayfield. You're right, Mayfield, in the chat. You're right. That's the direction they're trying to go to. And they're going in the direction of a monster that they created. It goes back to what I was saying yesterday, man, the other day. And I don't know if some people follow me the other day or not. It goes back to what I was saying the other day. When you try to market this great team sport and you try to put it in, you try to make it individualized and try to put it on individuals and you try to market it as an individual sport, you're going to create monsters of pays that you ain't going to be able to keep up with, because you're going to create monsters of individualizing where you're going to overpay for individuals on a collective team thing that you need to win. And you're going to find out you can't pay everybody on that marketing scale. Because you've taken the team part out of it and you made it individual. That's what, hey, you create that monster, that's how it goes. When you take a team sport, and when I coached, I talked about this. When you take a team sport and you try to individualize, when people individualize what is important to win, and they try to individualize it, not the team, you're not going to be able to satisfy the appetites of the individuals. But the team can eat less. Let me unpack that again. When you individualize the guys on the team, you're not going to be able to satisfy the individual's hunger. But you can feed the team less and they get more out of it. Because when you do it individual, every individual is going to get more and more greedy to have more and more. But the team only need enough to spread out equally to be able to win. And the NFL has tried to individualize football first with the quarterback. And when you individualize talking about how many championship quarterback won, now they're going to get paid 60, 70, 80 million because you don't put it all on them. And we know it's not all on them, but you don't put the spotlight on them, so you got to pay them accordingly. Now you spotlighting other players. Now you got to pay them accordingly. Because it's not about the team no more. It's about individuals. And the NFL created this monster. Now you got people like Jerry Jones trying to rein it in. Listen, man, The Joneses are trying to rein in the salary structure of the NFL, and they try to do it themselves. Where ain't nobody else listening to that. Because everybody else saying, hey, man, that's just the nature of the beast. And for your arrogant owner to get up there to say, well, you know, if he's not here, that's not going to hurt. That's not going to hurt how our team prepares or how we get ready or whatever because we don't have the contract. That's why we don't win. You think he could have told? You know why Charles Haley threw the helmet against the wall when Emmitt Smith went there for 2 weeks? Because Charles Haley knew one thing. It wasn't just about the games. He understood that you cannot prepare like this or go in there without your guys and then think you're going to play championship football. But it's the arrogance, man, that was talked about today. The arrogance coming off. Almost like he'll wait. No, we ain't talked to him. I ain't talked to his agent. I don't think I talked to his agent. Then sometimes say, I don't think I know his agent. This arrogance, man. The only thing gonna get rid of this arrogance is one of these big stars gotta say, hey, I can go someplace else and get treated better, play better, and probably be on better football teams. But see, our own fans think that Cowboys is the holy grail. Oh man, he goes somewhere else, man. He ain't like the Cowboys, them boys. Theater don't win football games, man. Being in the spotlight don't win football games. It's a sad. That thing was sad. That's why I don't even watch when Jerry and them talking. I don't know why I did it today because to see Schottenheimer sit up there and he couldn't even really answer the question about what they really want for training camp because I know he's like, this is not building no culture. How we building the culture here? Destroying players like Diggs. If you don't like the character of Diggs, okay, fine. You get mad because Diggs has been injured. Or you say, well, you want to talk about his injury come from him in training. But you know some people, you won on Diggs' deal. He took a poo-poo deal. And now you complain about the deal that you won on. Ain't like he won on the deal. If Diggs would have won on the deal and had the best contract of a cornerback, okay, I can see that. You won on the deal, and now what you're doing is you won on the deal, and now you trying to push the blame. Ain't that's the same thing we seeing now? Distractions. We'll throw stuff out there to throw it off on everybody else, and we'll sit back and say, well, don't talk about, because when people start talking about their jackups, they don't want to talk about that. And I'm going to say it again and say it again. You let a lame duck coach your team with a whole lame duck staff, and that don't even win in the NFL. But you want to blame it on guys being hurt. You want to blame it on guys doing this here. No other GM does that. And our fans, we don't value coaches enough. And we think we get enough players, they'll override the coaches. But it takes both of them. And this guy has stood 10 toes down on one thing he has said. He feels if he can put some talent together, he can get anybody to coach it, and he can, he wants to be the virtually coach. I saw a Law show today, man, that really trips me out. And I thought about that. Yes, Law was right. He really feel that he was more of a credit to winning the championship under Barry Switzer. And you know something, man? When you get an 80-year-old man that swear he full of it, swear he the best thing since sliced bread, that everything else evolves around him, that he got the piece of the industry that everybody should want, everything should flow through them. They can do it at their own pace. I can say whatever I want to say. I could get contracts done whenever I wanted to get it done. I can do it the way I want to get it done. Who that sound like? Really, that sound like someone that's just like the star. Stubborn, tumultuous, arrogant reactions. That has enough of a damn thing to do with football. They took this interview today to try to put their stake in the ground that they're running this and they'll get the contract done when they get ready. But you know something that the Cowboys don't do? See, the Cowboys want to portray that they're the best thing since sliced bread, and you should be privileged to be a Cowboy. But you know what they don't do? They don't put their free agents out there and let them and have to compete with nobody. I bet you won't put Michael Parsons on the free market. If you so bad, you think that Dallas is such a great place and everybody got to love to play for Dallas. All the good players. He talked trash about Terrence Steele, talking about where we maybe sign early. Well, why you just left Terrence Steele? Why you signed him to a tenure and we signed him on the break? Why you just ain't let him get on the free market and then bid on it? No, you don't want to do that. Because half of these guys won't come back. Half of these guys will take less than somebody give them respect and be gone. Now, our Cowboy fans don't want to realize that. Half of these guys will take less for the respect and the less of the craziness and be gone. But as long as they don't have no competing and stuff, they get to play this big role like we the end all be all. You think they compete for the best coaches? No. That's why they don't go out and compete for free agents. Because they know, listen, they think if they come out and say, we want to talk to you, that you're going to bow down and take whatever we want because you're a Dallas Cowboy and you're going to come to the S.T.A.R. and, man, look at all the big buildings we got and look how everybody like the Cowboys. That's what they think. They got a sign. I posted that sign that they got hanging in their locker room talking about it's a privilege. It's not a right. It's not it's something about the right to be a player, a coach, to be a Cowboy. It's an arrogant ass sign. Like we as fans should be lay down because we Cowboy fans. They got content creators feel like, oh man, you should be privileged that you're a content creator for the Dallas Cowboys. That's why they shoot you anything. It's going to take one of these players to stand up. It's going to take one of these players to stand up and say, hey, I'm one out. And Michael Parsons has to go all the way to August, or if Michael Parsons can't even come, let's say by some crazy chance, he got to go all the way to September to get his extension. And all the great players that came in his class, all the ones that have been producing in his class have already signed their contract. If I was his agent, I'd tell him get the hell out of Dallas. I would tell him, say, hey, don't worry about no extension. I want out. Go publicly and say I want to be traded, and play it that way. I'll play it safe. I ain't got to worry about getting hurt because everybody knows that. Because of the fact, Micah, you gonna make money wherever you go, baby. You gonna make stars wherever you go. You don't need Dallas to be a superstar. Now, y'all might think Coach Marv sound bad for guys going Cowboys. That's the truth, though. Because these tactics and what I'm hearing now are bully tactics. Yeah, I understand, man, that listen, that you ain't signing people early. Okay, fine. But you created an atmosphere of all this hype. So if I'm an agent and you created all this atmosphere of hype, and you created all this atmosphere like you the big dog and you write whatever checks, and this is all this and all this glitz and glam. Do I really want to sign the contract early with y'all? Or we could talk about it, but I want to be last. You ain't gonna kill me. You ain't gonna get over on me. I heard somebody talk about today, talking about you could have got CeeDee Lamb for 27, 28 if you went out there and got him early. You really think his agent would fit? You know something? His agent would have signed a contract a year or so really early for 27, 28, and guys are now getting 30, 35, whatever. His agent will be fired and won't have another contract with nobody else. I keep trying to tell you, man, these agents and these players say, hey, you can offer them a deal, but they already got a calculator in their mind to say, okay, if I get the deal, there's 3 wide receivers coming after me that's about to sign. 4. I don't want to wait. I don't want to be the first one and got 3 other guys behind me about to sign. That's going to mess up my money. But where I think the Joneses get in problem with this is, man, respect the game, man. Give the people a qualifying offer that's close to where your range is, and then y'all work from there. You might not settle for all the way under, but don't play the role like, hey, we'll wait it out to see if something's going to happen to them. Basically, that's what they're trying to do. They want the people to come in and say, well, all right, well, we ain't signed them because they got hurt. So we can have some leverage. Modern day, man. This is not football, man. Stubborn, tumultuous, arrogant reactions, man. That's not going to win football. And and Schottenheimer, I just don't listen. I think he is so waiting for you to practice to start, so he can get away from all this other stuff. Because that interview today, he shouldn't even been up there. They ain't talking about no doggone football. They just talking about soap opera type stuff. And Jerry loved that stage. Steven loved that stage because they can sit up there like they the big shot, and but they ain't competing against nobody. Ask yourself, everybody out there in the chat, ask yourself, when was the last time the Cowboys competed against anybody and won compete for a player and won the bid war, won because the player liked them better? I'm talking about a major player. I ain't talking about a guy that's washed up. No, because they'll never put their guys on the market. You see why Oakes got signed early, don't you? That Oakes would have got in the market, guess what happened? He'd probably be in Washington. And he'd probably be in Washington for less money. Because he had been treated like somebody. They're just doing this with Micah, and they did it with C.D. Lamb. You know they hurt C.D. Lamb's season because it took him a while to get himself in shape. Oh, you say, well, yeah, he in shape. He in shape. This and that. They ain't compete for Deion. They ain't compete for Deion, man. Because Deion said he never got a contract. If you watch the Dragon, Deion say San Francisco never gave him a contract offer. And the Cowboys was already Super Bowl ready anyway. It's sad, man, and it's hard. It's hard for me to see non-football things, and to me to understand where this team needs to go, and see non-football things, and see if we can get to there. It's hard for me to even talk about football things, man, because it just sounds like, I see the hypocrisy in the things, man. The day they sound arrogant. When Zach Martin held out, they sound mad. If anybody in the chat remember when Jerry talked about when Zach Martin held out, they sound mad. Today they sound arrogant. With C.D. Lamb, they sound arrogant. But they sound mad when Zach Martin held out. And they didn't answer too many questions about it, did they? And he didn't go in no big spiel about it either, did he? And it ain't take too long. I bet he talked to his agent quick. And they got it done. Sean Lee never had to hold out, and he was injured all the time. So it's a crazy type thing, man. And I wanted for the last couple of minutes, let's talk about some football type things. And I hope people in here, because I'm finna get off of this, because I know some of the other content creators are coming out with this stuff. Because everybody want to talk about Jerry and all this stuff. I should dedicate this into a own show, a private show, but I'm gonna talk about this today. Talk about it right now, and I am gonna talk about it in another show. I hear people talk about the run game. I've seen some of my friends out there. I've seen Lou Takes and Chuck had a show on about the run game. I seen a couple of the Avengers yesterday, and I heard my main man, Angry Cowboy, talk about, I just caught a clip of him talking about the running back, about what the running back did last year, and these running backs don't do better than that. Then they're they don't give over 1,000 yards, then we're gonna say that they're not here. Let me explain to you about the running game. And it's the same thing I explained about the running game, and I explained about the run defense. Yes, it takes great offensive. It takes, I'm not gonna say great offensive line. It takes a great offensive line that's very good. It's working together. Everybody on the offensive line don't have to be great. Everybody don't have to be Pro Bowlers. San Francisco has been winning with a great running game, and I think they only had one Pro Bowler on the offensive line. It's really not too many guys on that offensive line that's getting a lot of acclaim. But together, you'd think they were great. And yes, you need a scheme. And yes, you need a good running back. And yes, on the defensive end, you need I hear people talking about, yeah, you need a one tech. And you need a three tech. And you need defensive ends. And you need linebackers. Because the one tech ain't going to do it all. He can take up blocks, but if you got linebackers that don't know how to flow and get there or not aggressive, he ain't gonna help them none. But I would say this about the run game. The run game has been a problem because it hadn't been a priority, and it hadn't been in total belief that it could dominate. And I'm gonna go back to the philosophy, the analogy I use. And I want everybody out there in the chat, I want y'all to think about this. Can y'all think about this? And I'd like to involve y'all. Everybody who's listening to this, I want y'all to think about this when I talk about the run game and why I think the run game has not been, and the defensive run game stopping. All of us got, everybody who's been raised in a household, either by our parents, by mom and dad, or grandparents, or whatever. All of us know, and everybody out there who's played football. Let's talk about everybody who played football. Everybody who's out there who played football before, whatever level you played at, you learn your coaches. You know your coaches. And you know what your coaches, stuff you couldn't get away with, and you knew the stuff that if you messed up in this, that they really gonna get on your butt about. And you knew every coach. After a while, you knew your coaches. You knew what was important to each one of your coaches, and you knew what they, certain coaches, that might be all right, but certain coaches, you couldn't do certain things. I can't tell you that these players, when they find out what's important to a coach, you best believe they're gonna be on point with that. And they're gonna take it seriously. This run game, when McCarthy was here, was never taken seriously as an important part of this offense. It was looked at as, I keep hearing people out there talk about, well, yeah, man, we ought to be able to run the ball when we're trying to close the game out. Well, we got to be able to run the ball down in the red, just get those touchdowns, them 1 or 2 yards. Well, yeah, man, we got to run the ball when we need to run the ball. We got to run the ball when we can get some yards, but we don't get number 1 or 2 yards a game. Let's go to the passing game. If you treat the running game like a secondary type thing, or something I'm going to do if they allow me to do it, or if it's something I got to do because I should be doing it. Because every time I heard the coaching staff talk about this run game in the last 5 years, they always talk about 2 things. Yeah, we got to get our attempts up. And they say, yeah, we got to be able to run the ball better. Both of those things are saying things in a way that's secondary. If we don't, it's not very important. So when our tight ends go out there and they miss blocks, and our receivers miss block, and the running plate get blown up, they come back to the sideline and say, okay, I'll get it next time. And we go back to passing the ball. But if they miss a route in the passing game, people blow up on the sideline. They know what their coaches want. So what I'm trying to get to you is say this. If we want to be better at the running game or stopping the run, it's a mentality. I know y'all keep saying, coach, keep saying that word. It's a mentality about what good run defensive teams and teams that run the ball, don't give a damn if you got 8 people in the box, 7 people in the box, 5 people in the box. Their mentality is that we're going to run the ball when we want to run the football. And we're going to establish a physicality and a dominance Not saying we're gonna be 2 yards in a cloud of dust. I remember Nate Newton saying something that we did that too when I was coaching. When they got to the first part of the season, Nate used to say when they came into training camp, they ran the inside run drills. But you know what they ran inside run drills with? They had 7 and the defense had 9. They ran 7 against 9 on inside run drills. They practiced being outnumbered. We used to do the same thing. When we used to do our inside run drills, we used to practice against more defenders than we had blockers. What did that say? What does that tell you? That sets the mentality of the players that you can't stop us from running the football. That's not saying that you're supposed to go up there and run into a brick wall. But what it does is set a mentality of saying the importance of it. If you don't emphasize the importance of something and you are dedicated and committed to that importance, it's not going to work because soon as it finds some resistance, you're going to fail. That's the same thing in life, people. If you're not committed to something, soon as you run into one problem, guess what you're going to do? You're going to back off. And that's the same thing. Did you see that attitude with our run game? Why did Rico Dabo start running more? In the second half of the season, he ran for more yards than just about any other running back for like the last 7 games. But he got his first 20-yard carry, I think, in week 10. Do y'all remember early on in the season, the running back said him and Ezekiel Elliott said they didn't know their role? Do y'all remember that? So we try to blame it on the offensive line. But it wasn't. When your coaches don't make it an emphasis, it bleeds into the players. Now let's go to this thing when I was talking about your family. All of us knew everybody had pet peeves. Everybody, family member, mom, dad, whatever, had pet peeves that they had. Some people couldn't come in late. Some people had to do their homework. Something your parents got on you, you knew that they didn't play in that certain area. And guess what? You made sure you was tight in those areas because you knew they didn't play in that area. Now, somebody else's household might have been different. But teams that don't play about stopping the run have 11 guys dedicated to it. Because if you don't stop the run, guess what? You don't play. Now, I know y'all saying, well, that ain't gonna never happen. But listen, you can get on a player hard enough to say, hey, wait a minute. It's important. And when we talk about culture sets standards. Standard says, this is our standard. I don't care if it's the 2025 or 2045. If it's one thing about the teams, if I'm coaching a team, it might be 2025 or 2045. It's one thing that you ain't going to do on us consistently, or we going to try as hard for you not to do what it is run the football on us. I could see a guy run down the sidewalk, go down the field, and you might miss a coverage, or a guy jumps over top of you and make a great catch down the field and catch a touchdown. And hey, we'll get on you, but we'll try to get your technique together, and hey, we'll try to get you up to make that play. But don't feel a hole when you're supposed to have the C gap and you're not there. because you lazy. Or you going to get something from me that you ain't never got from me. Because see, run game and run stopping the run game, that's man work. Passing game, they play 7-on-7 passing game. Non-contact. You can do pass rushing drills with no pass. Yeah. Flag football can play passing game. But bending your knees and getting the running back in the holes and stopping the run and making tackles, that's man work. You only get that in tackle football. And for this team in these last couple of years, that's what I see. I didn't see a commitment and I didn't see a willingness because I knew it wasn't important. And let me tell you something. If it ain't important on the offense to run the ball, 9 times out of 10, your team is gonna have a bad run defense because it ain't nothing we work on. It ain't important. And this offensive line, this young offensive line, which is the one that's gonna start this year out, that has less than 3 years of experience. They're young. I don't think nobody on the offensive line 30 years old. Terrence Steele might be close. And if this offensive line can't get our defensive line ready for the run game, then we ain't gonna be ready. Y'all can talk about go out and get in anywhere y'all want. If this defense, this offensive line ain't gonna get this defensive line, this front 7 or front 8 ready for the run game, if this offensive line can't do it, I ain't worried about nobody else offensive line doing it. Because I would say again, take Lane Johnson out the category. Check the resumes of the other guys on the offensive line of Philadelphia and check the draft resumes and the youth of this offensive line. You tell me which one, if you put them on paper, who is better. I don't think Philly got another first-round draft pick on their offensive line. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Tell me what. I don't think Philly got another first-round draft pick. Take Lane Johnson out of the category. Beckton came from they thought he was a bust. He came from someplace else. He was a first-round draft pick, and he came over there. And restored his career. So we got better stuff to work with. So, like I said, man, if I see the willingness and the change in mentality, listen, man, a good running football team don't just. I heard somebody say today too, man, we need to get a running game because we need to be able to run the ball in December. Listen, man, a team that can run the ball, they don't care if they run in December, January, or December, or September. They're gonna control the line of scrimmage. What I'm saying to you about this, don't make up reasons why you should run the ball. You don't make up reasons why you should pass it. That's already known. And the teams that always compete, now listen, the teams that's in the championship games or playing for the championship or in the top of the division in this passing league, y'all want to say, but most of them are physical teams. Just because it's 32 teams, you got 25 or 22 teams that's throwing the ball all around, don't have no passing, and they screw the numbers and make it look like it's a big passing lead. I don't follow the teams that's losing. I ain't saying you got to be no 3 yards in cloud dust, but I understand the team that dominates, that's the alpha in the game, usually win the game. And I told y'all this in every game. Every game, there's an alpha and a beta that's decided in the first quarter. And you take the role of the beta, it's very hard for you to switch. You ain't gonna switch roles when you get third and fourth quarter. If you start out that way, that's how it's gonna be. That now you may switch the next game, but that game you're gonna be the beta, and you're gonna get the alpha's gonna get the benefit of the calls. They will get the benefit of the aggressive calls from the referees. And eventually they make you bow down. So, like I said, man, a physical presence. I don't even think when I keep saying that, a physical presence. I think I wish I had that Schottenheimer video when he talked about that. Early. I think he was offense coordinator his first year coming to offense coordinator. He said we got to be able to run the ball when we want to run the ball and pass the ball when we want to pass the ball. There's an article that I'm going to post on Twitter today. I'm going to post that. I posted this, but I'm going to post it on Twitter that there was a little show that they talked about why Schottenheimer, people going to be shocked about Schottenheimer. And I want y'all to watch that. When I post it on Twitter, I'm going to tag the same people, man. But I want y'all to watch that, man, where, man, Jeannie and the offensive lineman for the Denver Broncos, I forgot what his name was. They were talking about why they like Schottenheimer as an offense coordinator, and why they like Matt Eberflus as a defense coordinator. And they talked about some lot of very good things that are very crucial to what Schottenheimer wants to do. He's a very physical guy. He repeats plays. He talked about a lot of things that he does offensively that I think that would help this Dallas Cowboy team get an identity and get a amount of toughness. So I'm going to post that, and we're going to probably talk about it next. But have a look out. Everybody who's following me on Twitter, I'm going, as soon as I get off here, I'm going to repost that one out there on Twitter, and I want y'all to look at that, man. Look at that, what they said about Schottenheimer and why he's going to surprise people. There's a lot of good qualities in there about his leadership and how he's going to run this team. He has to run this team not as an offensive coordinator. He has to run this team as a head coach, because he has to be involved and he has to set the tempo for everybody. Y'all heard me say it, and somebody said that in that show that they said the same thing I've been saying all along. When you're a head coach coaches the coaches. When you're a pastor of a church, the pastor of the church coaches the deacons. He pastors the deacons. When you're a head of any type of organization, head of anything, you got not only coach the run the workers, but he got to run the staff. So first he has to get his culture within his coaches first, and then they carried it on to the players. And whatever you see of this team is going to be a reflection of that head coach. So if the team is soft, they're a reflection of him. If you keep out to talk about team being physical, that means they're a reflection of softness of the head coach. So we're going to try to find out, and everybody's been trying to figure it out, but we can't figure out what direction they're going into until we actually see it. But we got a lot of stuff I had to get over, man. I thank y'all, man. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about some real football things. But listen, man, the running game is about mentality, man. It takes 11 guys to stop the run, and it takes 11 guys for the run game to be great. There is no big runs in the running game without big receivers and tight ends blocking and getting blocks down the field. A 5-yard run, even Michael Irvin said that. A 5-yard run turns into a 25-yard, 30-yard run. a 4-yard run turns into a 10, 11-yard run. Just by guys doing their work down the field. If you don't have a lot of big runs in your running game, that ain't the offensive line fault. That means you hadn't been dedicated for that play to go all the way. And why you're not dedicated for that play to go all the way? Because you don't believe in that being a part of how you're going to win. You're just doing it just to get by. And anything that you do in football just to get by is going to look like that. Because as soon as you fit, as soon as a man start giving you resistance, you're going to back down. So when they say committed means when you say you committed means we are committed for it to work and to work big. I used to always ask my players, do you believe that it can work? And when I got responses like they really didn't believe, I know it wasn't going to work. It may work against some teams, players that didn't give no resistance, but if you don't believe in something, as soon as you hit some resistance, guess what you're going to do? You're going to turn court, you're going to quit, or you're going to try to go another route. I've seen guys run for 2-3 yards a carry for the first 2-3 quarters. That don't mean they should say, okay, well, we worked for the first quarter, we only get 2 yards a carry, and we done had 10 carries. Well, that we can't run the ball. I done seen weak teams say, all right, well, we ain't give it 2 yards a carry, man. And then they say, hey, we might not run the ball, but 5 more times in the game, we're just going to throw it because we get it. Listen, it's about the physicality of the run and staying patient to the run. Because later on in them games, those 2 or 3 yards going to turn into 6, 7 yards. Especially if the game is in the balance. But if you turn yourself into being a one-dimensional football team, against good teams, you're not going to win. And against good teams, the alpha team usually wins. And what I said, every game, there's an alpha and a beta. And decide to win in the first quarter. So, again, man, I had some people out there, man, that one of the people that was listening to me last week, I told him I didn't even put my Cash App into the chat, man. I didn't even show it. I just told people, man, hey, listen, I'm trying to get new equipment, trying to get this new computer together so I can have a better picture quality and everything. But my Cash App, man, if I get monetized, I'm at 359 subscribers. Please share this video, man. Get out there. If you haven't subscribed, please like and comment and subscribe, man, and be a part of this channel. Please look back at my list of videos. You'll go back and see all type of videos by Michael Parsons, the changes with Dak and Michael gonna need all these, man. But Jerry, again, like I said, man, this tumultuous attitude you got, that is it's bad for this country, and it's bad now. Don't run this like that. Get a guy to respect. Get a guy to contract. Really, so that doesn't be, we trying to make sure who's the boss here. Listen, if he's asking for something that's way out of range, do like the other teams do. Kansas City won back-to-back Super Bowls. You don't think Tyreek Hill was a great player? Do y'all think Tyreek Hill was a great player? Yeah. Kansas City offered him a very good contract. He said that wasn't a contract. They didn't play around with his offer. They didn't say we ain't talking to his agent. They talked to his agent. They offered him a great contract. They told him, say, go if you can find another contract, but this is the offer we're going to offer you. And if you're not going to take that offer, guess what? We'll accommodate you and we'll trade you. And we'll go on to win 2 Super Bowls back-to-back. Because we're not individualizing this team. This is the team that wins. And then we're gonna cut the chase from all this, back and forth and distraction for the team. We're gonna offer you a good contract. He said the contract that the Kansas City was offering was a good contract. He regrets it now because he took a few more $1 million to go to Miami. He regrets it. But the reason why he want to go back because he would have wanted to go to Kansas City because they didn't BS him around. They say, hey, we offer you a competitive contract that's going to keep us in line. We're not going to play around with it. We ain't going to offer no low ball contract. We're going to get you a competitive contract. You can find a few more dollars. Fine. We're going to accommodate you with a trade. They didn't go through all that. If that's what you're going to do, Cowboys, go ahead and tell Michael Parsons, say, hey, we want to offer you $40 million or $41 million. Something competitive, because anything that's close to the top is competitive. If you feel like you ain't gonna go no farther with that, say, hey, we think you offer you a good deal. If not, we'll trade you. If you good, you got to believe in your team. You cannot have it both ways. It can't be theater in football, man. So like I said, man, I don't want to go back down that rabbit hole. But again, man, if you want to send me a cash app to support the channel, man, my cash app is $ P as in Paul, B as in boy, S as in Sam, 222, 3 2s, PBS 222. I greatly appreciate it, man, because all of everything is going towards the uplift and the buying RAM and buying more memory and buying this camera so I can get up and have a better picture quality, a better show with having all the glitches, man. Again, it's $ PBS 222 if you want to donate to the channel. But just by liking and subscribing, man, and sharing the video, it will be enough, man. Just make sure that you put those likes in there. I thank y'all for the likes, man. I thank y'all for all y'all support, man. I thank y'all for following old Coach Marv. Some people say I'm old school. It's going to take old school values for us to win a championship. I just want to say that. It's going to take old school values for us to win a championship. We just seen a team to win a championship last year that did it with old school values. Running game and defense. And allow the quarterback to be special at times. So let's do it the right way, Cowboys. Thank you again, man. Thank you for all y'all have done for me, man. Thank you for letting me vent. Again, to recap. Jones, you got to stop being the star. You got to stop being stubborn, tumultuous, arrogant reactions. And if anybody understand what that means, take the first letter in each one of those words. They spell STAR. Stubborn for S, tumultuous for the T, arrogant for A, and reactions for the R. You got to stop being that front office. And 2, man, get our mentality right about running the ball and stopping the run, and we'll be all right. If this offensive line is what I think it is, it can make our run defense better, and it can make our run game better. That's where our investment is. 3 first-round draft picks. 3 first-round draft picks. And a guy that's already been paid to tackle. And a very good center that should have been a higher draft pick. They should dominate and lead the way. Thank you for all the guys that came in, Lou Takes, all these other guys that came in. Thank y'all so much for all y'all have done. Some of these guys out here, man, that came in and that's out there in content creator, man. Hey, man, touch a brother up, man. Let's do a show together, man. Let's get out there and do a show together. Let's talk about some of these topics I talked about, man. And let's talk about this training camp and see if they get a little nasty in it. Until next time, peace.